I'm about to graduate and I really wish I had this during nursing school because it definitely would have helped. Here's some nursing school advice that nobody asked for as a graduating nursing student. Okay, this is actually something I wish someone told me, but start researching where you want to work when you graduate. Nursing school is going to go so fast. Like, it's going to go so fast. You're going to blink and you're going to be graduating.
Have you ever had a dream so big that you left everything behind just to make it come true? That was Elizabeth Tamilore Odunsi. Everyone called her Tammy. She was just 23 years old, young and full of hope. She came all the way from the United Kingdom to the United States. Why? Because she wanted to become a nurse. She wanted to help people. Tammy wasn't just a student. She was also a TikTok star. She had over 45,000 followers. She used her page to talk about her life, her school, and her dreams. People loved her. She was sweet, calm, and always smiling. She talked about finishing school and going on a vacation soon. She never knew that her life would be cut short in the worst way. On April 26, 2025, something very bad happened. The police went to her apartment in Houston, Texas. Someone had called them to check on her. When they got there, they found her lying on the kitchen floor. She was dead. She had been stabbed many times. But that's not all. Inside the apartment, they also found a man named Chester Lamar Grant. He was 40 years old. He had wounds too. He was taken to the hospital. Later, the police said he was the one who killed her. Why did he do it? Because of a cat. Yes, a cat.
Shocking new details in the stabbing death of a British nursing student on Houston's South Side. Elizabeth Odansy was killed just over a week ago.
And now that student's roommate, 40-year-old Chester Grant, is charged in her murder. He's being held on a $500,000 bond at the Harris County Jail.
The police said they argued about his cat, and that argument turned into a deadly fight. Tammy had been living in that apartment with Chester for only a short time. Nobody knows exactly when she moved in. But what people do know is this. Chester had a bad past. He had been in trouble with the law before. He had been violent before. The police had even been to that apartment before. But no one stopped him from living there. Tammy's family is very sad. Her father says the police and the landlord should have done something. They should have known Chester's past. They should have protected his daughter. Now, Tammy is gone. She will never get to be a nurse. She will never graduate. She will never take that vacation. Her family is trying to raise money to bring her body back home to UK. They want to give her a proper goodbye. This story makes us ask, how well do we know the people we live with? Should landlords do background checks on roommates? Could this have been stopped? Keep reading to learn everything about who Elizabeth Tamilore Odunsi was, what happened on that day, and what we can all learn from this sad story. Stay with us as we unravel this shocking story and uncover the heartbreaking details of what led to this senseless loss. If you enjoy real crime stories that uncover the truth, don't forget to subscribe. Your support helps us share real cases, spread awareness, and give a voice to those who can't speak for themselves. Before we begin, let us know in the comments, where are you watching from? And what are your thoughts as the story unfolds? Welcome to True Crime Tales, where we reveal the crimes that shock communities and the secrets hidden behind closed doors. These are real people, real events, real consequences. Hit subscribe and turn on notifications. You won't want to miss what's coming next. Now let's begin. Elizabeth Tamilore Odunsi was a young lady. People called her Tammy. She was 23 years old. She came from the United Kingdom. That means she lived in a country far across the ocean before she moved to the United States. She moved to a city called Houston in the state of Texas. Tammy came to America to go to school. She wanted to become a nurse. A nurse is someone who helps sick people feel better. She was a student at a school called Texas Woman's University. She worked very hard in school because she wanted to learn everything she needed to help people. Tammy also liked using social media. She had a TikTok account where she shared her life. Her TikTok name was @TammyDollars. On TikTok, she showed videos about school, her journey to becoming a nurse, and her daily life. Many people watched her videos. She had more than 45,000 followers. That means many people liked her and liked what she shared online. Tammy was a happy person. She smiled a lot. She worked hard. She was kind. She cared about other people. She had a big heart. She helped others when she could. People who knew her said she was caring, hardworking, and hopeful. That means she believed good things were coming in the future. Tammy had a strong faith. She was a Christian. She believed in God and prayed often. Her family said she loved going to church and loved helping children. She wanted to work with kids as a nurse. That was her goal. Tammy had many dreams. One of her dreams was to finish nursing school. Another dream was to help children who were sick. She also talked about going on a graduation trip after school. She wanted to relax and enjoy her success after all her hard work. Tammy was loved. Her family loved her. Her friends loved her. Her followers on TikTok loved her too. Many people looked up to her. They liked how she worked hard. They liked how she stayed strong. They liked how she shared her story online. Tammy liked many things. She liked helping people. She liked school. She liked making TikTok videos. She liked talking about her faith. These were things that made her happy. Tammy had a bright future. That means she had many good things waiting for her. She had plans. She had goals. She was on her way to doing big things. She was almost done with school. She was close to becoming a nurse. She had worked so hard for that dream. Tammy's life was special. She came from far away to follow her dream. She stayed strong, even when life was hard. She used her voice to help others online. She showed the world what it looked like to never give up. Her story is about a girl who believed in herself and never stopped trying. Chester Lamar Grant is the man who lived with Elizabeth Tamilore Odunsi. His full name is Chester Lamar Grant. He is 40 years old. He is from the United States. He was not a student. He was not a friend. He was a roommate. That means they lived in the same house. Chester was living in the same apartment with Tammy. That is where the crime happened. He was the person who killed her. Chester was a man with a bad past. He had done wrong things before. The police knew him. He had been in trouble with the law many times. That means he had been arrested before. He had hurt people before. He had been violent before. He had lived in the state of Washington before coming to Texas. In Washington, he had broken the law. He had been to jail. He had been charged for crimes before. These crimes were not small. He had done serious things. Chester had a record. That means the police kept notes of what he did. He was not a safe man. People who knew about his past should have been careful, but it seems no one warned Tammy. Chester was not a peaceful man. In the past, he had done violent things. That means he used force and hurt people. He had attacked others before. Some of the crimes in his past include fighting with people, hurting someone with a weapon, being arrested for dangerous actions, having mental problems that were not treated. Even though Chester had a history of doing bad things, he was still able to rent a place. He was still allowed to live with someone else. There was no rule that stopped him. That is how he ended up living in the same apartment as Tammy. The police had even been to that apartment before. That means there were already problems in that home. But nothing changed. Chester stayed there. No one removed him. Chester had lived in that apartment for about 3 months before the crime happened. That means he started staying there around January or February 2025. He was living there when Tammy died in April 2025. We do not know much about his daily life there. We do not know what kind of job he did or what he did at home, but we know he had a cat. He cared about the cat. 3 months may not seem like a long time, but a lot can happen in 3 months. Tammy and Chester were living in the same space. They may have talked. They may have had problems. But no one knows for sure what happened between them before the crime. This brings many questions. Why did no one check his history before letting him live with her? Why did the landlord not tell Tammy about his past? Why did the police not act, even after visiting the apartment? Chester's history tells us that he was dangerous. He had hurt people before. He should not have been living in the same home with someone who did not know about his past. Tammy did not know what would happen. She was just living her life. But Chester's past was full of danger, and in the end, he brought harm again. On April 26, 2025, something bad happened in an apartment in Houston, Texas. Inside the apartment lived a young woman named Elizabeth Tamilore Odunsi. People called her Tammy. She was 23 years old. She came from the United Kingdom to the United States to go to school and study nursing. She was a student and also a TikTok creator with many fans online. On this day, someone called the police. The person said they were worried because they had not heard from Tammy. This kind of call is called a welfare check. That means the police go to check if someone is okay and safe. When police officers arrived at the apartment, they knocked on the door. No one answered. They went inside to look. Inside the apartment, they found something very bad. They found Tammy lying on the kitchen floor. She was not moving. She had many stab wounds on her body. That means someone had used a knife or sharp object to hurt her again and again. The police checked her body and saw that she was dead. She had been killed. The apartment was quiet. There were signs of a struggle. The kitchen had blood. It was clear that something violent had happened there. The police kept searching the apartment. They wanted to find out if anyone else was there. They walked to one of the bedrooms. Inside the bedroom, they found a man named Chester Lamar Grant. He was 40 years old. He was alive, but he was also hurt. He had at least one stab wound on his body. He looked like he had been in a fight. He was not able to talk clearly. The police quickly called an ambulance. Chester was taken to the hospital. The police stayed at the apartment to collect clues. They took pictures. They looked at everything carefully. They wanted to understand what had happened. They found out that Chester was Tammy's roommate. That means they lived in the same apartment. He had been staying there for about 3 months, but it was not clear how long Tammy had been living there. Later, police said the two roommates had an argument before the stabbing. They said the argument started because of a cat that Chester owned. The fight between them became dangerous. During the fight, Tammy was stabbed many times and died. Chester also got stabbed, but he survived. After looking at all the clues, the police said that Chester Lamar Grant killed Tammy. He was charged with murder. That means the police believed he was the one who used the knife to stab her. Even though he was hurt, the police believed he was the one who caused the crime. The apartment was sealed off by the police. They put up yellow tape and told people to stay away. This is what they do at a crime scene to protect the area. They don't want anyone to move things or change anything while they are still collecting evidence. The police told the public what they found. People were shocked. Many people knew Tammy from TikTok. Many people also asked how something like this could happen. They want to know more about Chester and why he was allowed to live there. But this part of the story was only about what the police found on that day, April 26, 2025. Tammy's body was found on the kitchen floor. She had many stab wounds. Chester was found in the bedroom, also hurt. The police took him away, and they began their investigation to find out everything that happened in that apartment. It was a day that a bright young student's life came to a sad and sudden end. The apartment became the place where the police started asking questions and looking for answers. What happened next would come later in the case. But on that day, all the police knew was that one person was dead and another was hurt, and they had to find out why. After Chester was charged, people wanted to know who he was. Police and news reports say Chester had a criminal history. This means he had been in trouble with the law before. Chester had lived in the state of Washington before moving to Texas. Records showed he had a past with violence. People now ask why someone with a violent record was allowed to live with a young student like Tammy. Police say that Chester had only been living in that apartment for about 3 months. It is not clear when Tammy moved in or how long they lived together. This was not the first time police had visited the apartment. Reports say that police had come to the home before. It is not known what the reasons were, but neighbors say they had seen police cars at the apartment more than once. Even with past visits, no action was taken to remove Chester or to warn others. After Tammy's death, people began to ask if something more could have been done earlier. Some believe that police or the landlord should have known that Chester had a violent history and that he may not have been safe to live with. Tammy's father gave interviews after her death. He said that he is very upset with how the case was handled. He asked why the police and the landlord allowed someone like Chester to live with his daughter. He said that police had failed to protect her. Tammy's father also said he may take legal action. This means he might sue the police or the landlord in court. He He said they should have known that Chester had a criminal background and should have stopped him from living with her. He asked for answers and said he wanted justice for his daughter. After the news came out, many people reacted online and in the news. Tammy's friends and family talked about her after she died. They said she was a hard-working student who wanted to help people. They said she loved children and wanted to become a nurse. They remembered how excited she was to finish school. She had plans to graduate and take a vacation. Her family said she loved God and always had a kind heart. They shared pictures and stories to remember her. Tammy had many followers on TikTok. She used the name Tammy Dollars. Her followers liked watching her videos about school, her life, and her dreams. She had over 45,000 followers. When people found out she had died, they were shocked. Many people wrote messages in the comments of her videos. They said they couldn't believe what happened. Some followers shared how she had inspired them to study nursing too. Her last few videos showed her smiling, talking about her goals, and getting ready for her trip. People said they were sad to know she never got to live her dreams. Tammy's death was reported in both the United Kingdom and the United States. News websites and TV stations shared the story. The news explained how she had moved from the UK to study in the US and how her life was taken too soon. In the UK, people talk about how sad it was to lose a young woman with so much promise. In the US, people ask questions about safety in student housing. The story made many people think about who they live with and how to stay safe. After Elizabeth Tamilore Odunsi's death, her family and friends were left with deep sadness. The tragic event shocked many people, especially those who knew her online. People who followed her on TikTok, where she shared her life and dreams, could hardly believe what happened. GoFundMe created to send her body home. In the days after Tammy's death, her family started a GoFundMe campaign to help with the cost of sending her body back to the United Kingdom. Tammy had left her home country to chase her dream of becoming a nurse in the United States, but now her family had to bring her body home for a proper funeral. The campaign was meant to raise enough money for her parents to pay for travel expenses, funeral arrangements, and other costs. People from all over the world donated money to the GoFundMe page, showing their support for Tammy's family. Her death touched many hearts, and they wanted to help in any way they could. The money raised would also help her family get justice for her. Tammy's death raised many important questions. One of the most serious questions was about housing laws. How was Tammy allowed to live with Chester Lamar Grant, the man who killed her? Chester had a criminal past. He had been involved in violent crimes before, yet he was living with Tammy in the same apartment. His criminal history should have been checked before he was allowed to live there, but it wasn't. This brought up the question, should landlords do more to make sure that the people who live in their properties are safe? If Tammy's landlord had checked Chester's background, they might have seen that he had been in trouble with the law. Maybe then, Tammy would not have been living with someone dangerous. This situation also raised another question. Should people be required to do background checks when they're choosing roommates? If Tammy had known more about Chester's past, would she have felt safe living with him? It was clear that she didn't know about his violent history. And if she had known, maybe she would have chosen not to live with him at all. This tragic event made many people think about how important it is to check the background of anyone who will be sharing a living space with someone. After the police arrested Chester Lamar Grant, the legal process began. Chester was charged with the murder of Tammy. The police said that the fight between Chester and Tammy started over something small, like a disagreement about his cat, but quickly turned violent. Chester was taken to the hospital for his injuries, but he was later charged with killing Tammy. The legal system would now determine what would happen to Chester. People started to follow the news to see how the case would progress. Would he go to jail for his actions? Would there be a trial where the truth about what happened would be shown? Tammy's family was waiting for justice. They wanted to know why Chester did what he did, and if he would be held accountable for his actions. They also wanted to make sure that this tragedy was not forgotten, and that something would change to help prevent similar events from happening in the future. As the story of Tammy's death continued to be shared in the news, many people began asking important questions. The main question everyone wondered was, could this have been prevented? Tammy was a young woman with a bright future. She was studying to become a nurse, and she had so many dreams ahead of her. If only things had been different. If only she hadn't been living with someone who was dangerous. Could her death have been stopped? Another big question was, should roommates have background checks? When you live with someone, you trust them with your safety and well-being. If Tammy had known more about Chester's past, she might have chosen not to live with him. Many people felt that having a background check for anyone who wants to live with you could help make sure that you are safe. Finally, people wondered, why was someone with a violent past allowed to live with her? The landlord should have checked Chester's history. He had been in trouble before, but no one seemed to check if he was a safe person to live with. This is something that could have made a big difference. If the landlord had done a better job of screening people who live in the building, maybe this tragedy could have been avoided. These are questions that still linger as Tammy's family waits for justice, and as the case moves through the courts. It is clear that something must change to help prevent other people from being hurt in the same way. Would you feel safe living with someone who has a criminal past? Do you think landlords should be responsible for checking the backgrounds of people who will be living in their buildings? What could have been done differently to protect Tammy? These are the questions we must think about as we try to learn from what happened to Tammy and find ways to keep people safe in the future. If you found this story as gripping and heartbreaking as we did, don't forget to like this video and share it with others. And if you want to hear more true crime stories that uncover the mysteries behind these tragic events, make sure to subscribe to our channel and turn on the notification bell. You won't want to miss our latest stories, updates, and discussions. Thank you for joining us on this journey to seek justice and explore the truth. Together, we can make a difference. Until next time, stay safe and stay aware.